Morning, everyone, and welcome to Military Mondays. For those of you who do not know who I am, I'm retired Major Brenda Sanchez, and I'm also the co-founder of Life's Real Currency and our best-selling book, Life's Real Currency. And today I get the pleasure of interviewing Alissa on my Military Mondays. Alissa is a rock star mortgage lender and here in Colorado Springs, but she has been dating slash we're going to call her a spouse because in all technicality you've really been a spouse for how many years now?
9 years.
For nine years. To a reservist, and so she's taken on the role of being a spouse without all the entitlements yet. Next year, right? Next year. She's getting married, and so congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
And
it's about time.
Yeah, I was gonna say
After 2 kids,
well
9 years.
2 kids, 9 years. Let's make it official,
Let's
right?
make it official. Yeah,
Get all the benefits of being a military
right.
spouse,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I wanted to have her on today so that you all could get to meet her and learn a little bit more about her and what she does for the military and civilian community here in Colorado Springs. So with that, Alissa, tell us a little bit about you and your background and how you got into mortgage and
all that fun stuff.
All that fun stuff.
So I have been in banking for 6 or 7 years before I decided to go wholesale. So I was a lender when I worked in banking for quite some time. And after we had our second kid, it came down to I needed to be a lot more accessible than what I was. And with him and his chronic question mark above his head, as I like to call it, because we don't know what his life is going to look like on a regular basis, I felt that it was in our best decision for me to be able to work from home. So that's part of the reason. And I love lending. I love everything to do about lending. I think it's interesting. I love numbers. I love talking to people. I love helping you with your American dream, basically, as everybody likes to call it. And so that was really part of the main reason why I decided to go wholesale. And thus far, it has been the best decision of our lives. We are happier and we're thriving 10 times more than we ever did. So from a personal standpoint, it's been amazing. And from a professional standpoint, I love it. Like, I love helping people. I get you into your home. We have long conversations. Not only do I educate you on the whole process, but I also make sure that you're comfortable with it because it's a big decision. At the end of the day, it's one of the biggest decisions you will ever make. And so that's
all that paperwork you signed.
All that paperwork stuff. Somebody once told me that I was the ringmaster of a circus I can't control. It's kind of true, but I try to make sure that we're comfortable through the whole process. But yeah, that's what it comes down to. Yeah.
So as we're going to put air quotes around it, spouse of a military reservist, what do you think that has helped you, skills you've learned as a air quotes spouse, that has helped you to be better in business today?
The things that I have learned as being a spouse from him, a lot. Oh my gosh. I have learned more about the military world than I ever thought that I ever would. Like I never thought that I was going to attach my wagon to somebody who was in this. So what I've learned from it is how to adapt, how to adapt to different situations at any given moment. And we literally live in our life of we constantly just adapt and change and overcome things, because if we don't, then we struggle, because having so much of a set plan or something set in stone doesn't necessarily work. And so I've learned how to maintain a sense of just flexibility and being able to make sure that we can get where we need to be. That's the biggest thing, just being flexible, man. It makes it so it's easier. Yeah.
Yeah. Flexibility is the key to air power, right?
Right. Yeah.
But it's true. I mean, I really think that that's something very different with the military community than the civilian community, is that you have to be flexible because you never know. because I think he's had several deployments, right?
Yeah.
So you never know when he's going to deploy. You never know when you're going to be a single parent, and then you take on all of the roles. You take on the husband and wife role while he's gone. And when he is deployed, what does that look like? I mean, what resources do you have, a network of people that you reach out to when he's deployed? I just want to give the civilian community an idea of what it's like to be a soon-to-be spouse, air quotes spouse.
I do, and it's hard, and I'm not gonna lie, it's very hard because you come accustomed to having them at the home, and you have your teammate home, and you have your player home, but when they're gone, it's a whole new world. And it's true, you do fill both roles, but it's achievable if you have a network. And so for us, like, I have worked really diligently to ensure that both of my kids are taken care of, that they have somewhat of a normal set schedule, and then behind the scenes I look like I'm riding a roller coaster every moment of every day. And there's times that I come blaring in as a hot mess, and that's okay too, and we make it work. But I definitely have a huge network, and I'm very blessed in the fact that my in-laws are very close, and my mom's retired. So if I have to call her in, she comes in. My brother-in-law lives 4 minutes door to door.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so if something goes wrong, they have full access to our kids, so they can go pick them up from school. So I've worked really diligently to ensure that our kids are taken care of, and the aspect of making sure that they have a foundation. But yeah, my network is pretty good with where things go. We don't, because I'm not, quote, married to him yet, we don't use a lot of the military resources. So I've had to figure out ways to make it work in the civilian world, just because if we don't, then it won't work.
Right.
It won't work. And that's okay too, but.
Right. And,
yeah.
And I think, what was I thinking there? I don't know. I lost my thought there. But being in the military just is a totally different, or being the spouse of a military, the network, that's what I was going to say, the networking. So I think that's the other skill that we learn as spouses or children or veterans ourselves or military members ourselves, is you learn how to network, because you haven't had this experience on the reserve side because you've been here for the whole time, right? You guys haven't moved per se. He's just deployed at times. So a little bit different than your typical active duty that's moving every 3 to 4 years. But somebody who's active duty, or even a reservist that moves around to different assignments, they have to find a new network every 3 to 4 years. And so I think that's the other thing that makes people really successful that come from a military background or a military surrounding, is because we've learned how to network, and civilians don't necessarily learn how to network the way we do, I think.
No, because you have to be open and receptive, and different personality types you're going to encounter them every single time something changes. And I've seen it even with active duty friends of ours. I've seen it, and people, and the spouses and the families, it takes them a little while to adjust, and I think that's one of the reasons why I probably like networking so much, is because I'm like, hey, I get it. I 100% get it. It's hard and it's a struggle, but we're here, and we'll help, and we'll do whatever we can, because it's an adaptment. It's a change. It's all of the above. All of the things.
Awesome. So being a lender and being a wholesaler, you have access to a lot of products that somebody that is captured agent, they're not a captured agent. What do you guys call them in the mortgage world?
So I'm a broker. And what that basically means is that I will find you the best deal possible. So I shop all of our companies that we work with, they call them the banks, but all the people who actually give you your money to buy your house. I look through 6 or 7 of them in order to find out which one has the best rate. So, and what gives you the best credits back, to make sure that you're doing making the best decision possible. So that's really what my role is to make sure that I'm getting you the best deal possible so you are set up for financial success in that regard.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And so you have access, obviously you work with a lot of veterans
That's our bread
to
and
help
butter.
them. Awesome. Her bread and butter. So if you are a veteran and you are in need, especially here in Colorado Springs,
or in the state of Colorado,
or anywhere in Colorado, right? Of a mortgage, a new loan, or you want to refinance, because right now the rates are amazing.
They're amazing right now.
And so if you haven't refinanced recently, my husband and I refinanced a few years ago. And I don't even know how we got the rate, but we did, and I'm going to keep it because we got 2.75 fixed.
Good for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Good for you. Yeah,
but they're like at 3. What are they?
Depends.
You can't quote a rate today, so we're not quoting a rate today. But they're in the 3.5 range or something like that, give or take.
Yeah.
So really great rates. So if you haven't refinanced and you're trying to finagle your budget and have more money, I know that when we refinanced, it saved us like $300 a month.
Yeah, and it can. And even if you're not in a position, and I say this all the time too, even if you're not in a position to refinance, or if you're not there to purchase yet, have the conversation with me, talk to me, let me educate you on what you think, because a lot of people have this idea or this stereotype of this is exactly what I have to have, and this is exactly where I need to be, and that's not always the case. And so even just getting educated, I love doing that as well, because it's not an end all be all if you're not at this specific spot in your life, and we can still make some of those ideas or your dreams or your hopes come true by a simple conversation. So I can put you on a right path or give you whatever you need. I'm really, really the person who's like, I'll just give you everything you need so you know what to do. Because I think that's so imperative for people, because there's so many that are not, they're just like, okay, I don't know, but okay. So
and because you may be looking in 2 to 3 years to buy a house. It's not too early to sit down with a mortgage person and get educated, because especially if you're self-employed, there are some things you can do to better your situation just in filing taxes and that. Neither one of us are tax people, but we can put you in touch with tax people that can let you know, and she can let you know you might not want to take all those write-offs, because then you're going to show very little income, whereas if you don't take the write-offs, you might qualify for more, or that dream house you want. And if your financial score, if your FICO score is lower right now, she can help you figure out how to raise that so that you can have a path to having that dream home in a year or 2 years or
And that's the other thing is, like, we can go pretty low on the credit scores. So having that 680 or that 700 or 800, don't let that stop you either. There's scenarios and cases that have gone down to 580.
Nice.
So it's not an end all be. That's what I'm saying. It's not an end all be all type of situation. It does, things need to be finagled a little bit, but it's not an end all be all. For sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So how do we'll put her contact information down in the comments below, obviously, but how can they reach you?
So you can get me on my email or on my cell phone. So my email is A Hinricks. She's got my name.
Last name.
Yeah. So it's A Hinricks at fidelityms.com, or 720-238-0162 is my cell phone. That is my direct phone. My phone is always on. I shut my phone off, or it goes into what I call my silent mode, because if I don't sleep, then I'm not functioning. But my phone goes into silent mode about 11 o'clock and then turns back on at 5 a.m. So you can literally reach me anytime in between all of there. So if something comes up in the middle of the night where you're like, oh my gosh, I gotta know, shoot me a text or call me. I'll answer. I'm always available. Sure.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on today. And
excited.
I'm excited for you too. We just met recently through networking.
Yeah.
And yes, exactly. And we have a lot of friends in common. So looking forward to getting to know you a lot better in the coming months and years. And so if you have any questions at all about mortgages, please reach out to Alissa.
Yeah, for
She'd
sure.
be glad to answer them for you. And I look forward to seeing every one of you next Monday, right here, same time, same channel, 8 a.m. Mountain Time, unless I'm in Hawaii like I was last week, and then it was 8 a.m. Hawaii time.
Of those times.
But 8 a.m. Mountain Time every Monday morning here, you can find us via Facebook Live, and sometimes it's interviews and sometimes it's just education. So make sure you go to militarymondays.info and sign up for the mailing list. That way you can get information about past shows and upcoming interviews that are coming up with other business owners in the area. And we'd love to stay connected with you. So I will see you next Monday on Military Mondays. Bye, everyone.